Richard Wiseman loved card tricks when he was a child, and he quickly became an accomplished magician. Later, he studied psychology at university, and this combination meant that he was perfectly placed to analyze the paranormal. He has since written a series of best-selling books on the subject, the latest of which, Paranormality, Why We See What Isn't There, has been published in Italy by Ponte alle Grazie. Whereas other investigators like James Randi like to expose the charlatan nature of paranormal activity, Richard Wiseman prefers to look at the reasons why people believe in it. We asked him whether a belief in paranormality was part of human nature.
I think there are two separate issues there. One is that we're sort of hardwired, as it were, to have very strange experiences, and really that's what paranormality is about. It's saying what's going on in the brain such that we do see ghosts when ghosts don't exist. We do have dreams that predict the future, when in reality you can't predict the future. There is a sort of tension between our experiences and how we know the world works. And the book explains really why we have those experiences, given that the paranormal doesn't exist. There is a separate question, though, which is why are we motivated to believe in this stuff? Why would we want to believe in a faith healer or a medium or a psychic? And I think the answer there is different for each one. So, if you're ill, the notion that someone can magically cure you is obviously very persuasive. If you've lost a loved one, the idea you can still talk to them is obviously very attractive. And in terms of psychics, we don't like uncertainty about the future. So along comes an astrologer or a psychic who says, I can tell you what's going to happen. And suddenly we're there. We think, that would be great because you remove the uncertainty that makes me feel very worried in everyday life. So I think these people play on these psychological needs.
And in the case of astrology, these psychological needs have produced a worldwide industry.
Astrology is a curious one. Curious in the sense that it's survived so long, given that there's nothing to it, in the sense of there's nothing in terms of predicting the future. I think with astrology you have a few things going on. First of all, people are very good at seeing themselves in generalized personality descriptions. So if you say to people, you have a great deal of untapped creative potential, we all like to go, oh yes, that's me. My goodness, how terribly insightful. Or there's double headers. Sometimes you enjoy going to a party, other times you'd rather be staying in with a book. And of course that's true of everyone. It's just the way we were. It'd be more remarkable if it wasn't. So a lot of these very general things. And also if you do go to an astrologer, like a psychic, they'll make lots of predictions, only some of them will come true, and you'll just remember those ones, you'll forget all of the others. So these are the psychological mechanisms that underlie astrology and actually psychic readings as well.
We then asked him about out-of-the-body experiences, or OBEs.
With OBEs, I think this is where there's been a great deal of progress relatively recently. So the notion of you floating out of your body, turning around, seeing your body there, again, a relatively common experience. And that's what's true and fascinating about lots of these paranormal experiences. They sound remarkable, but actually large percentages of the population have experienced them. What's going on there? Well, when you shut off sensory input from the body, so for example, if you're lying very still, or if you've taken drugs and you're simply not getting sensory input, so the brain can't work out where you are, it starts to make things up. And if you have a vivid imagination, if you are very good at imagining yourself from another perspective, then you start to be able to push yourself outside the body. And we know that because now we can do experiments with virtual reality systems where we can easily persuade people to leave their bodies, that you can produce our OBEs on demand by simply feeding people visual information which suggests they're somewhere they're not. And as soon as you do that, they think that they're in the virtual world and looking at themselves. So I think that's fascinating that you start to be able to produce these experiences by understanding the real science behind them.